back to the Week in Rock. Radio station KDGE-FM has been championing alternative rock in the Dallas area for 3 years now. So when The Edge, as it's called, celebrated its 3rd anniversary last weekend, some alternative stars turned out to help, among them Scotland's Soup Dragons and hardcore poet Henry Rollins. Here's what happened.
Dallas radio station 94.5 The Edge recently celebrated its 3rd year of cutting-edge rock, when 14 bands crammed music into a sweltering afternoon and evening of entertainment.
You get there, you go on, they throw your equipment off, because, you know, they got to get about a bunch of other bands on, so it's a challenge to have your thing together and be able to deliver the way you want when everyone's going like, go, 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 go. So it's good to do these kind of gigs.
Sweats like nobody else, man.
I think that's why festivals work when they do work. It's people come to see one band and they get turned on by another band. You know, it just opens a lot of people up to a lot of different styles of music.
Every time we play festivals, we try and play at night, because us in the daytime don't go hand in hand.
Live it to the full. Everybody's gotta get some.
Whenever we play a place, we always find out later that, you know, a lot more people have bought the record or the CD. You know, it's definitely, it makes an impression. It's just good to have as many people as possible hear our music. We don't want to just be cornered into one wee sort of small section of the music business. We want everybody to hear it.
And with a growing legion of fans, the Soup Dragons hope to incorporate more visuals into their live shows.
If you do start making a lot of money, there's things that you can do with the money. Like, if we said years ago that we would have loved to cover the whole stage in televisions and things and put our films in that, and a very successful band who've just made a lot of money have just managed to do that.
I think that the pluses and minuses with playing like a festival situation is that we're getting Henry Rollins fans as well as Cracker or someone else. And it gives us a chance to get out, and mainly it's a really youthful crowd. And we get to use our energy and hopefully set up some sort of communication system with the audience.
I think we're a tough band to pin down. What's important is that, you know, it's rock and roll should be supported, and it's nice to see so many people come out for all these new bands, you know, that aren't like on mainstream radio, and they're just coming out, you know, we got like 10 or 12,000 people here today, and that would be unheard of a year or two ago.
Speaking of alternative music, the English band XTC has been a major force in this area since the late 70s. So when the band released a new album recently called Nonsuch, we had Dave Kendall track down the group's leader, Andy Partridge, for a chat. Here's what transpired.
One of the more thought-provoking videos you've seen on MTV recently is The Ballad of Peter Pumpkinhead, the latest from Swindon, England's XTC. Frontman Andy Partridge told us the story of Peter.
I carved a jack-o'-lantern for the kids. I felt really sorry for him because he was perfect, so I thought I'd immortalize him. And the more I started to write a song about a perfect hero, I thought, well, he's perfect, he tells the truth, and that's really powerful. He's perfect, and he pleases people. How do you please people? You give them money. That's what they want. And so he becomes really famous for telling the truth. And of course, he gets too big for his boots, and the government have him killed. It's Jesus Christ, it's JFK, it's John Lennon, isn't it? It's Joan of Arc, isn't it, Andy? Oh, we know it's about the Pope because the pumpkin head is the headwear, right? You know, you're allowed to read whatever martyr you want to read into it.
Peter Pumpkinhead is the first video from XTC's 10th album, Nonsuch, a record that's just scored its 5th week at #1 on the alternative charts.
I found this great picture of this palace that Henry VIII had instigated called Nonsuch, and I found this great picture of it. I thought, that's beautiful. And I thought the word Nonsuch meant doesn't exist. And I thought, how sad, calling a palace doesn't exist palace, and now it doesn't exist, you know, and it was just the most architecturally beautiful, perfect thing. We started to get the album together, and then I looked up in the dictionary, and I found it meant without equal. So it's turned into like, sounding like a really boastful thing, but me? Oh.
It's been 10 years, Andy, since XTC have been on tour.
And you never wrote.
Oh, you bitch. I'm sorry. A lot of people are wondering, are you ever going to go out on tour? I mean, what do we have to do to persuade you?
The weird thing is I'd like to flip that around and say, why the hell do you need us on tour? What's the big thing where you have to be part of that kind of stupid circus thing? Why do you have to... I mean, what do I do with my carcass that's brilliant that anyone would want to see? You can go in a record shop and buy a slice of my soul. Why do you want to see my pork wobbling around in front of you?
If Andy Partridge likes to make fun of himself, he's also very serious about subjects like the environment.
Seems kind of obvious, like the big problems nobody wants to address. Cars are messing the world up. You know, 80–90% of the world's filth comes from cars, and nobody wants to do anything about it because everyone owns a car. And I'm not going to say anything because I've got a car, and I'm not going to. People have to look at themselves. They're the problem.
Finally, we heard from Butthole Surfers leader Gibby Haynes this week about a story we'd reported last week in which several other acts and participants in an AIDS benefit concert at the 13th Annual New Music Seminar expressed anger over reports that the Surfers had taken a $15,000 fee to headline the show. Haynes emphasized that the money was not a fee. It simply covered the considerable expenses involved in bringing the band and all its lights, equipment, and crew from Austin, Texas to New York City for one night. We took money out of our own accounts to make this gig, Haynes said. $15,000 is not our usual fee. I wish it was. I wouldn't be living in my practice space right now. That's about it for this edition of The Week in Rock. We'll be back on Monday night with The Day in Rock. Now we leave you now with Mick Jagger and some fellow Rolling Stones jamming with bluesman Buddy Guy and pop staples during Britain's first annual National Music Day last Sunday. Have a good weekend. We'll see you soon.
Catch the latest in music news tomorrow night at 8 o'clock with The Day in Rock. Right now it's Liquid TV, only on MTV.